Hey, y'all, welcome to another episode of Kelvis Podcast. Hey, man, I got some of the best knowledge of basketball, a pro player. Coach Don in the building with us today on the Kelvis Podcast. He's already been on the podcast. I got Jose here with me. I'm going to let him fully introduce himself. It's just a super excited time on the Kelvis Podcast to have these two dynamic individuals in the studio podcasting with me today. So without further ado, I'm going to let you fully introduce you with that long name you got, brother.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jose Roman-Angueira. I'm currently just returned from Puerto Rico, but I am a 6-year pro.
Coach Don, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience again.
Coach Don Gardner, a coach around here in Fayetteville. I've coached pro developmental. I've also coached high school for over 25 years. Hall of Fame nominee for the high school.
Roger that. Hey, y'all, I learned something new today. So in my research, we put semi-pro, and I was corrected. It's pro, and there's different levels to this pro thing. So to this pro basketball. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna really get into the nitty-gritty of that today. So, hey man, so give us a little history about yourself. Where you're from? You know, how did you get in basketball? Give me a little background on yourself.
I was born and raised half my life in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I'm a military brat. I moved around a lot. First stationed in Fort Hood, my dad, and from there I went to South Carolina and North Carolina. I've been playing basketball, honestly, since I could walk.
Wow.
I knew I was going to do it. I didn't really come up with a plan B. I don't believe in plan B.
I heard several people say that. Just focus on one plan.
I'm gonna make it work, and with God's effort and God's love, I'm gonna make it happen. So I've been blessed with being able to create the life that I've always wanted to live.
Right.
And to influence the next generation also, siblings and so. So, yeah, I played in multiple countries, starting from Central America all the way to Japan.
Right, and now we was having that discussion prior to, we was all kind of talking together with my producer RJ, and I never knew all these different, pro levels in different countries. I've seen, people like in the NBA, the women's league, go overseas. My girl that went over there, was held capture for a while. She would go play on the off season over in different countries, or especially in Russia. So that was something that I didn't know because of what they get paid. Talking about their pay, and so I didn't even I've heard about these teams and these different leagues and whatever in different countries, but I never met anyone that actually have played in the league. So when you were telling me that, it made me like super excited, and I wanted to know more about it.
So when it comes to playing overseas, it takes a whole different level of discipline. Understanding that you're probably going to be away from your family 6-7 months out the year. You're going to miss birthdays. You're going to miss anniversaries. You're going to miss graduations. You're going to get a bunch of I miss yous, I love you, come back. If you have a significant other, it's I love you, stuff like that. It's really different. And then coming from where I come from, I came from a D2. I finished at Miles College in Alabama. Coming from a D2, I'm not no major player. I didn't come from no Duke, North Carolina. I had to get it out the mud.
Right, you got it from the dirt.
Yeah, so it's the simplest way I put it. I've talked to Coach Don about this all the time. My first contract overseas, I was making $400 a month.
Ooh. That's rough right there.
400, and it steadily grew to be blessed to be able to live the life I have now.
Right.
And be able to kind of relax and enjoy life. But the difference between playing in the States and playing overseas, you have to also understand the culture shock.
Yeah, I can imagine
You're going to go into places where they don't speak English. They don't care to speak English. Depending on where you're at, they don't care for who you are as a person or what do you look like for specific people. Understanding that you have a job to do, and if you don't do it well, they will get rid of you immediately. They don't look at you as a person. They don't look at you as a human being in some places. They look at you as, I am paying you to get me to where I need to be. And if you're not doing that, I will happily get you on a plane today and tomorrow have someone else that can do it for me.
Right.
So it shows you a sense of discipline, because now it's worse than college. Because I say college, the only thing that kills you in college is responsibilities.
True.
You have to work out. You have set times in college where you have to lift. You have to cardio. You have to do all this stuff in college. As a professional, you wake up whenever you want. Nobody's going to tell you when to lift or to. So gives you a sense of, I need to get my stuff together. I need to make sure I'm in shape, make sure I'm ready.
Especially if that's how you're making your money.
Oh, trust me, because it took me, I would say 3 years financially to be able to get to where I'm at, where I can live comfortably. Like I don't make millions of dollars, but I can go home and I understand that my power's not going to cut off. My light's going to be on. So I got that blessing, but it took me 3 years to get there. So it's a sense of discipline that's like, I miss hanging out with my friends. Like, I miss hanging out with my family, but it took a lot of convincing my mom. Anybody who's met my mom, I love my mom.
Yeah.
But it took a lot convincing my mom.
I can imagine.
To be like, hey, I can't come to family dinner today.
Right.
Because I have to go get shots up. Right. I have to go to this track. I got to go run 2-3 miles.
Especially coming from the culture of Puerto Rican. Y'all, it's a very close family niche type of environment. Yeah.
Still are. I've been home for 2 weeks, and I've seen them in the last 15 days. I've probably seen them 13. Like, you get... Yeah, so it's a sacrifice that a lot of people think they can make until an opportunity presents itself. Right. So I believe that, and that's just, I base myself on, I know I want to play basketball, and I'm not going to do anything else, and I'm not going to try to do anything else. So I'm gonna play basketball at the highest level for as long as I possibly can, because I feel like that's what God blessed me on this earth to do.
Mm-hmm. So, Coach Don, when you have a player like this right here, and you coached them in the past, what kind of dedication do you require them to have when as they coach?
Well, when it comes to any professional career, it's all about dedication.
Right.
And one thing I know about Jose is he's dedicated to his craft. He'll push me. He'll call me and say, "Hey, Coach, can we go work out? Can we train?" So it's the extra hours that he's willing to put in. And I'm the type coach where, and I said this before, you won't outwork me as a coach. I'm going to bust my behind.
Right.
And he tries to make sure that I live up to that, because like I said, he'll call me and, and say, "Hey, let's get in the gym," and we'll get in there and we'll get a lot of solid work in. And he works hard, and you can see it in his game.
Right.
The stuff that we're doing, the shooting, the ball handling, stuff like that, we started working on. When he gets into the game, you can see it. When he's playing, I see some of the stuff he's doing. I'm like, we worked on that. That's good.
Yeah.
So he's receptive to everything that we're doing. He's teaching me the same way I'm teaching him.
So y'all both learning from each other.
Absolutely.
So this is a question. It's not in my notes, but I'm just curious. So from your perspective, Coach Don, someone like my brother here, that's played on a professional level, and you probably have other players that have played on a professional level when y'all come together as a team. How do you not only let's talk about outside of the workout, let's talk about when they overseas and they still keep a relationship with you. Let's talk about the financial piece of do you encourage them to invest their money, because it's easy to go over there and play, like he said, 3 years it took him to get where he's comfortable. But if he's not managing that money, I think that's a part of, correct me wrong, of coaching, just not only coaching them on the game, but life. Because I know, listen to your interview with me you had, I know you definitely in the God and the spiritual side, but also as a coach, how do you mentor them into the process of how to manage their money, or you recommend someone? Because when you start making at some point good money, not to just throw that away, because he could get hurt next season and be down for a season. And so how he's going to maintain. So talk to me about that aspect of it.
Well, once you get to know your athletes, you kind of figure out what it is you need to entertain or teach per se. Jose is not one that you have to talk to about saving his money. He's been in multiple countries, so he understands how the finance side works. Right. Just our conversation is more on the lines of, "Hey, are you okay?
Okay.
How's everything going? What do you feel like you need to change in regards to your team? What you need to do to get better?" And then let him speak. Sometimes as a coach, it's just best to just shut up and let him talk.
Listen, okay.
Because those are ways, those are opportunities for him to vent.
Right.
And so that's what I look forward to, and that's what I use as a teaching point, based off listening first, because God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Right, that's
so
true.
I listen first before I even make a comment, because I know how Jose thinks. Right. And I have other athletes that's played at the pro level. I base it off our conversation based off what we need to talk about. And of course, we talk about how they're maintaining their money. Jose and I spoke about that before he went to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And like I said, that's a conversation that doesn't necessarily have to happen with him because he's been there.
But as a coach, though, you got those ones that you probably do have to have that conversation with. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked, because I know as a coach, you're just not a coach. You're a mentor. You're a father. You're a spiritual advisor to these young men, or they are young men. So there's a lot that rides on your shoulders as a coach, and we talked about that. And I see that y'all have a great relationship because we were just sitting out there talking, and the trust and the love that y'all have. I loved it. I was super excited just to hear y'all go back and forth. So tell me, so what is it that we talked about you playing in different countries and coming back over here when we was kind of having a conversation, getting to know each other. And you talked about the different levels of pro, and I learned a lot in that conversation. What would you tell someone that's right now playing in a college and seeing you play or listen to my podcast? What advice would you give them to get to that next level?
That's a great question. I work out with current college players while we work out with Coach John. He kind of feeds me to them. Mm-hmm. So I can just pick them apart and have fun with him when I just to sharpen my tools. I'm definitely throwing a shot out there because I know he's gonna watch this. A couple college players, a couple G League players that I would say, hey, like only because I came from a certain place or do a certain thing doesn't mean that I'm not better than you, because I am. So when I work out with current players in the CIAA, I work out with players in the SIAC as well. I kind of tell them that you have to have a loose screw. Every professional that plays at the highest level has a loose screw. Everybody hears the stories about LeBron, Kobe, Michael, KD, and they're all like, you have to have a loose screw. And I'm sitting here telling you that I worked out almost every day since high school. And I wasn't fortunate to make it to the league, but that doesn't mean I didn't make it.
Right.
So when I play and I train with these college players, I tell them, one, I'm very religious. I keep God first. There's nothing over that.
Right. I see the connection.
Yeah.
And just in this whole room. Yeah. This whole room.
He says,
we put God first.
I think the first time I met Coach Don was in a workout, and he said, my coaching is a ministry or mentoring. Yeah, a tool for the ministry. And I kind of, I challenge that because I come from a place, you got to show me.
Right.
So I push him. I call him at 2 a.m. Hey, I had a game. This is what happened. Look at the film. What you think? So, but when it comes to talking to college students, I tell them, one, keep God first. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be just in basketball. It should be in life. In life, everything can simple.
Right.
Two, I tell them you have to understand that. And it took me a minute to understand this. It took me my first no overseas. I got my first no ever in basketball was overseas. I got to understand that I'm taking someone else's food off their table. And when it comes to playing professionally, you're not playing for a scholarship. You're not playing for education. You're playing for living.
Right. That's true.
I'm not finna go home and work at Walmart. I'm not finna sit here and go to McDonald's. I'm not trying to throw shade at nobody, but I will happily take your food off your table to make sure there's some on mine. And when I work out and when I play basketball overseas and when I train, whoever puts in front of me, that's why I say I throw my shots, because it's like, you don't want this more than me. Because I have a slight fear of not being able to accomplish who I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So I tell them, when you work out, if you're working out with somebody, cool, y'all can be friends. I'm gonna kill you in this workout. You're gonna roll this ball out, and I'm gonna show you why I'm a 6-year pro.
Okay.
And
I like the confidence.
I told you I straddle that line between confidence and arrogance a lot. But when I go overseas, I understand that I'm doing something that someone else was doing. Mm-hmm. So not only am I taking someone else's contract, I'm taking off their food, I'm taking off their earnings, and I have to understand that I'm okay with that, because you didn't want it bad enough. That's why I'm here. Mm-hmm. So when I work out, I try to also show them the difference, because college is pretty much one speed. 1-2 speeds, up and down fast. So when we work out with players that I think can play at this level, and Coach Don will vouch for me, if I don't think you play at this level, I'll tell you. I was like, hey, you got to do something because this ain't
right.
Get your degree because it's. So look, I'm an honest man. So
I want to change gear and let's talk about the small kids and I've been all over the world, but I never been played ball, served in the military 20-some years. For those young kids coming to the game, seeing you on the court, off the court, what example do you want to set for them? Not just only for the college kids, but for a young, like my son is 13 years old. He's into basketball. Even young ladies that see you out there playing. What example and what words of encouragement do you have for a 13-year-old son like mine or younger that's watching you, even in another country, and they may not speak, y'all may not have some language barrier, but they watch you and maybe they see you out on the economy, and the same thing here in the States when you play in the States. Absolutely. What example are you setting, and what do you want to portray to them?
Absolutely. So it varies, I think, because when I played for a team in the States, during the game, before the game warm-ups, I interact. A lot of kids in this area or in Fayetteville don't get a chance to drive to Charlotte to watch a Hornets game or anything like that. So I might be the closest thing to that form. Right. So before the game, before I get into my routine before the game, I would show up 2 hours before the game just to be able to, if I can. And kids there from AAU teams, hey man, hi, how are you doing? What position do you play? Favorite player? You interact because that one thing can save him from making that bad decision down the street or hanging out with the wrong crew or just, the basics the same thing you always hear that you don't want to happen. And that's during the game. Now, when we do workouts or me and Coach Don go around out in public and kids will recognize me. I'm like, hey man, just keep God first. Put God in your workout, put God in your daily everything. And you have conversations, and I tell them the only reason I keep God first is because when you pray for it, God will give you an opportunity to do it. Right. So you can't sit here and talk to God and be like, I ain't trying to preach a little bit. I'm going to preach a little bit.
Right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, you can do that on the Kelvis Podcast.
You can't. So, you can sit here and pray to God to give me the opportunity to, I want to be a pro. God, I want to be a pro. Make me a pro. Make me a pro. I don't believe he works like that, but I believe he works by giving you an opportunity to work to be a pro.
Well, they say work. What is it? That's when they're dead.
Exactly. So you can talk. I told him, hey, pray to God. Talk to God. You want to be a pro? Talk to God. Okay, God, I want to be a pro. He's going to give you an opportunity to work out. You don't have to be in a basketball gym to work out. You don't have to be in a basketball gym to become a basketball player. You can do push-ups. Right. I'm old school. Look, my parents were military. I'm in the garage, push-ups, a jump rope, duck walks.
Right. Like, I know them. The bear crawls.
Yeah, I'm barrel rolls.
I was a drill sergeant, so I'm very, I used to make them soldiers, boy,
The man that raised me was 26-year Army infantry.
Okay.
He said, you want to do something, you make it. Right. You make it work. You don't take no for an answer. So when I talk to kids, I'll tell them, one, always talk to God. He's going to give you an opportunity to be great. Understanding the evolution of basketball from when I was a child to now, I do believe in trainers. You can only go but so far by yourself. Right. I'm self-taught. I taught myself through high school. A lot of coaches through high school has blessed me and college has blessed me. But there's only so much you can do by yourself till you need a trainer. But a trainer is also earned, not given. Right. So it's important to influence the next generation. I always say that as I feel like my purpose on earth through God is to inspire and lift and lead the next generation of basketball. If not basketball, just anything that I can influence is important.
So let's talk about let's switch gears. Let's talk about again, there's no doubt your relationship with God, but being traveling all over the different countries playing ball and then coming back to the States, even when you're in the other country, let's talk about the mental aspect because as we've seen, Simone, she took that break to gymnastics. She said she had to take a mental break. There's been other professional athletes have took a break, and a lot of people don't understand the mental strain, the mental process that goes on when you perform at that level. Let's talk about how. First of all, I know God is foremost, but when you dealt with being overseas and come back, what was the mental transformation that you had to make when you go overseas versus coming back here? What are some of the mental struggles that you had to face, and how did you overcome them?
A lot of credit to athletes that play at that high level, NBA, or play or represented us for the Olympics, because I get on the plane and I turn off my emotions. I have no emotions when I go overseas. I'm going over there to do a job.
Okay. Yeah.
My first 2-3 years as a pro, I was calling my mom every day. Hey, I don't think I can do this. And a lot of people a lot of professional athletes are gonna say this. I'm telling you right now, Every professional athlete that plays overseas will tell you they had this. I talked to a bunch of professionals. Once you get to a certain level, you hang with the people you want to get to.
Oh, that's true.
So I started hanging out with a lot of professionals, 10-year pros, 12-year pros. How you do it? He's like, hey man, I get on that plane, I cut it off. And I was like, what? He's like, I kiss my wife and kids. I get on that plane, I turn it off. Mm-hmm. There's no emotions because I have to understand that I'm here for business. And it resorts back to when I said, it's like they will find someone to replace you immediately.
Right.
So I have the conversation with my family, my mom, my siblings. My younger brother plays basketball too.
Okay.
Everybody I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Don't call me emotionally because I'm not going to be able to be there for you. I'll listen to you. Mm-hmm. I'll talk to you. But my emotions aren't going to be there. I won't be able to express that to you because I'm over here. Yeah. Language barrier, culture barrier,
right,
and religious barriers. Because if someplace I played overseas, they don't take a liking to
Christians.
Yeah.
So, I got you. Yeah,
and it don't stop me. Hey, look.
Yeah, I've been in the country. Yeah.
So that emotional barrier gets cut off for me. Yeah. God has blessed me with a coach. I call him any time of the day. Mm-hmm. My college coach, I haven't seen him in like 5 years. I still call him to this day, and I annoy him too. Yeah. It doesn't matter who it is. If I need that, hey, am I doing good? Like, just tell me I'm doing good.
Right.
Hey, man, you got it.
Yeah.
Call my mom.
Yeah.
So, any athlete to do it at the Olympics, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you see it televised on ESPN, you've been blessed by God. I ain't gonna lie, because I do it, and I feel like a lot of people even in Fayetteville don't know who I am, or just so. No emotions. I have no emotions when I go overseas. I don't try to. Even when I was in a relationship, I'll tell my significant other, hey, like, look, when I go overseas, I need just hold it down for me. Mm-hmm. I can't give you what you look for.
So when you come back to the States, then what's the thought process then?
I open that door, I cry, I hug everybody, I miss y'all. We talked about this, I'm not a very God-given talent player. Like, I've worked out for every skill set I have. So when I come home, I'll give you 36 hours, I'll give you 48 hours. I love you, I miss you, hugs, kisses, pictures, let's go hang out, let's go get food. After that 48 hours, hey, Coach Don, it's that time, we gotta get in the gym. I gotta get active. I gotta feed that monster inside.
So, Coach Don, let me ask you, and I know we talked about it on our podcast, but just let's kind of touch on that. So, by you being a coach and, of how many players, whatever may be on the team, and dealing with all day, problems, and I know they're able to come to talk to you. I know you're a very religious man as well, but how do you deal with when you got your own problem, but you got, how many people on the team? How many?
What year we talking?
Well, let's talk about in the recent year. We won't say the year, but the recent year, 17. So you got 16, 17 people with different background, kind of different personality, and being the man that you are, they know they can come and talk to you. You got great mentorship. You definitely pray for them. But how do you deal with all the mental of their weight being put on you as a coach?
I was speaking to my brother earlier in regards to that. Like, sometimes, you're there for so many people, and then sometimes you feel like you're on an island by yourself. And that, believe it or not, that creates more of a relationship between yourself and the Father. Mm-hmm. The Bible speaks a lot of purpose and obedience.
True.
And I know my purpose. my purpose, like he said earlier, I believe that basketball is a tool for the ministry for me. You know, and my obedience to our Father is what keeps me grounded, even when I'm going through. Yeah, I shed tears. Yeah, I have my days, just like everybody else. But, you know, again, conversating with certain athletes and understanding what they're going through and being able to speak through them ministry-wise is what makes me who I am. I don't want the credit because I know who deserves the credit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He deserves all praise.
Right. And I also have to remind myself, no matter what I'm going through, I got to remember whose I am, not who I am.
Right.
So I know who I belong to, and I know that through him I'm gonna be able to conquer whatever I'm going through because he requires us to be conquerors.
Right.
You know, so and I truly believe that. So I try to instill that with everybody I come across, athletes, even students, you know, at the school. I try to do it the best that I can, you know, with the knowledge that I might have, or you know, through the ministry that God has blessed me to have.
What, you know, when you finish this game, when you hang your shoes up, what do you want your legacy to be known as?
Amazing question.
I'm amazing.
You're an amazing host. Amazing host, right? You're
Thank you. I'll pat myself on the shoulder.
You're doing a great job.
Thank
I've
you.
been asked this question so many times and I never had an answer. So honestly, when I retire, I really want to be a father, a husband and a father. I really look forward to that. This life, being overseas, kind of hasn't been too kind to my personal life.
Yeah, haven't given you the opportunity.
So
to
really. when I hang them up, throw them on the power line. It's old school, but I still believe I want to do it.
Yeah.
I just want to throw them on the power line. Yeah, I got to. Just someone that you looked at and just be like, he knew how to play. I'm not very, like I said, I don't have really that much of a God-given talent. Everything I worked for. So I just want so people look at me. If I'm in Fayetteville, I believe I've influenced the community enough for them to know who I am. So I want to transition into coaching, and I want them to be like, man, when he played, there was a tenacity, an aggression to him that was just unmatched and unwavering. Because I play, I smell blood, and I want you to. And if you're the one bleeding, I'm gonna make sure you know that it's your blood that I smell,
right?
And it's gonna be a long night for you.
So, Coach, what do you? Obviously, he, you know, part of his legacy to take your job at some point when he gets through playing. I was listening. I listened very carefully. So what do you know, we talked about it on my podcast, but I think it's very important for the audience in this environment setting. I think it's appropriate. When you hang your coaching shoes up, what do you want your legacy to be known as?
At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, well, let me say this. That basketball can take you so many different places in life. Especially if it's done the right way.
Right.
Ultimately, when I'm done and it's time for me to leave this earth, I want my God to say, well done, my good and faithful servant.
Gotcha.
That's my main thing.
Yes, sir.
But when I hang my whistle up, again, being nominated for a Hall of Fame, it's not for me. It's for my kids.
Right.
I want my kids to be able to see my dad got it from the mud.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't finish my high school years playing basketball. I was a good player, very good player, but I chose to do other things. So when my kids see those type of accomplishments, like my wins and Coach of the Year awards and stuff like that, I want them to be able to see somebody who did it the right way, and mirror those things, whether it's bad, whether it's coaching or whether it's life or anything. I want them to be able to mirror that hard work and dedication can take you so many different places.
Right.
And even the people that I've come across or God, you know, put into my life as far as the ministry through basketball or whatever, just to say, hey, you know, he did it the right way. He was always honest. Can't nobody say they remember the time that I told them a lie. If they saying that, it's because they didn't get something out of me that they wanted.
Okay. Got it. And that's a lot of times the case anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a great answer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got to work on mine.
No, we speaking Canada. So I used to, and this is I won't say it's patent, but it's a question that I ask on the Kelvis Podcast quite often. And I think the last guest we had on here, she kind of made me change it a little bit. So my question to you, and you said just a few minutes ago, you want at some point you want to settle down, you want to have kids, you want to be married. Do your love have conditions? When we talking about that part of your life, where you settling down, having a family, do your love have conditions? Because normally I ask, what did unconditional love mean to you? But she said something to me that a lot of people hit me up and said they like the way she answered that question. So I'm asking you, do your love have conditions?
No, I don't think. I can say no now because I'm not in that space. But nah, I believe love is exactly what it means. It means love. If you're in love, I think when I find my wife and I'm married, love is just something to me. Like, I can answer that unconditional and be like, man, the air isn't as fresh without her around. You feel me? The water doesn't taste. You feel me? My love doesn't have conditions. It's not my place to look at you and be like, oh, I only love you for this, or I don't love you for this. God loves everyone. Okay. And we're all children of God. So my love has no condition. If I love you, I love you. I accept you for who you are, not what I want you to be. Because then that'll put conditions on it.
Okay. I'm going to ask my producer, do your love got condition?
Daggone right.
Because I knew he was going to say that.
Hey, listen.
I will wait on the opportunity.
I
was plotting in my mind on you.
Get up real quick.
I need an example.
Let me see what I got.
I'm getting ready to give you one, too.
I wasn't even going to be on the podcast, y'all. This is high. Bring this down a little bit. Hey, y'all.
Talk to me, RJ.
Listen. So what I was talking to Don about earlier today,
right? Mm-hmm.
It has conditions because life has a way of changing you. You never know what you can handle till you go through it. And so, like I've been divorced a couple times, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Been deployed a couple times, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've been voted out a couple times, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So life and its experiences and its challenges have changed me.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I go into situations creating a space where I make it hard for love to be unconditional. I'm just not going into a space blinded and stupid.
Right.
I refuse that.
Okay.
Because life has played me. Mm-hmm. I've played myself.
Right.
I've not had boundaries in places I should have had boundaries.
Oh man.
Right. And so what I say all the time is that a taker can see a giver a mile away.
That's true.
And if you don't have conditions on, for real, so seriously, so if you don't have conditions on what that looks like, you're going to look up one day, you're going to be in your own thoughts, you're going to be isolated, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to feel like nobody has your back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You're going to think about all the times you've labored, all the times you've sacrificed.
Boy, you better preach.
All the times
you better preach
sleep.
right now.
No, I'm serious.
Because I'm feeling that.
No,
I've been in that space.
Think about that. You don't get the time back.
No.
You don't get the investment back.
Yeah.
You don't get the labor back.
What'd you say? You said the other day on a reel that went, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah. 2 things you can control, your time and your money.
Your time and your money. And so if you don't have conditions, you'll look up and you won't have nothing. Right. You would have lost time. You would have lost resources. Yeah. And when you lose both of those as a man, you lose hope.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You gotta have conditions on what you got, because if you don't control that, if you don't put a gate around that, right, your heart gets broken, right? Mm-hmm. And so then when you finally get to the best part of your life, you come to it with broken pieces. That's true. And God forbid you meet somebody that does not have the patience to put it back together.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? No, I'm serious.
Yeah, no, you're very serious.
And
I can definitely relate.
You put me. You shouldn't ask that question.
No, I wanted. I set you up for that.
Because we talked.
Yeah.
Because when she said that, a lot of people came back to me and was like, "That was powerful."
Yeah.
Your love. A lot of people don't say they love don't have a condition, but they do.
It does. And I want to make sure I cement into the ground that not only it does have conditions, but it better have conditions. How can it not have conditions? And then you say the little bit I have means so much. Ooh. The broken pieces I have, everything I've been through, everything I've labored through, everything I've cried through, right, the nights that the kids were, and I didn't want to mess up because I didn't want them to feel impact. It got conditions.
Yeah.
It got conditions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so when you have conditions on it, that's the highest magnitude of love, because you can't love nobody else unless you love yourself enough to have conditions. Yeah. You can't do it. It ain't possible. You can't nobody respect you unless you got conditions.
True.
They'll disrespect your boundaries time and time again and look at you like you crazy. And the moment that you move those, you move those boundaries and you set conditions, they'll find somebody else to do it to. Right. Yeah. Because I said it before, a taker can see a giver a mile away, bro.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Because you're speaking, I feel like, one, thank you.
Yeah.
I really needed to hear that. But at the same time, I view it as we're two different generations. You've lived a lot more life than me. So now that you explained it in the passion you explained it, one, everybody that watched this, Lord, look, that hit me. That's wisdom. You can't. That's life.
That's life.
Life was life, and then it got to you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much for dropping that. My love got conditions too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was conditioned.
He done came to Kelvis Podcast. Like, hey, wait a minute. I got some conditions. This ain't gonna roll with me.
Look, the next one in my life, be ready because it's about to get. No, but I think my generation of I must say for men, just because I can't speak for women, needed that. I needed to hear that because now not only did you put it in context, but you gave examples and understanding from something as simple as somewhere where you thought longevity was there. 10 years, oh Lord! Look, I'm young. I'm not that patient.
Yeah. So what you got to say? Let you chime in there, Coach Don, because I know you got a great word for the audience. Yes, sir.
One of the main things is again, the Bible speaks a lot of purpose and obedience. You have to protect your peace. I heard a wise man say that you have to protect your peace.
Oh man, that's so powerful.
The conditions that you must maintain. You got to remember, I'm married, but you have to consider a person being married may suffer through mental health because of their spouse.
Yeah.
Do you really think God expects you to live through that?
Right.
If you living through that and you're accepting it, that's part of being unconditional.
Right. That's
but
true.
God doesn't want you to be in a relationship where your spouse is cheating on you and physically harming you or mentally harming you.
Or verbally.
Yeah. So you have to realize mental health can be worse than physical damage. You understand what I'm saying? When you're dealing with stuff mentally, it's hard to overcome it because you dream about it. You think about it all through the day. Physically, you can kind of get over it by certain techniques or whatever, stretching and all, jokingly speaking, but mentally, it can take you through the wire.
That's true.
It can take you through the wire. So unconditional, and you telling me that I gotta unconditionally love you when you're mentally destroying me, I don't see God expecting you to live through that when you've gone, you've prayed, you've done all that, you talked to your leadership, and you seeked Him, and that person has not changed. I understand where it says through sickness and in health. But you got to understand, I shouldn't have to bear the same sickness because you're pouring it on me mentally.
Right.
And there's people that have to live through that.
Right.
There are people who take themselves out.
That's true.
There are people that take themselves out
I've seen
because of the mental stress that people put them through. And it comes more from people you love the most than people you barely know.
The devil uses people most closest to you to destroy you.
There you go. So you're telling me I got to unconditionally love you when you're causing me mental strain and I can't take it no more. And there's people that's going through that. And God also put people in place for people that are going through mental health. So He knew that people were going to have mental issues. And a lot of times it comes from the people they love.
That's true.
Kelvis, let me drop one more thing in. I ain't got to be on camera for this one, dog.
Come sit down.
Good. No, it ain't that long, dog.
Okay.
You need the reverb, dog. I'm going to say it like this. When you get tired of losing,
yes, sir.
For real. When you get tired of losing, my dad said before, he said, I'm not a stingy person because I'm just stingy natured.
Right.
I grew up poor. I got conditions on the things around me. I worked hard for this.
From the mud.
Eric Thomas said, when you want to breathe as bad as you want to succeed, that's a condition.
That's when you'll be successful.
That's when you'll be successful. You gotta have conditions because that's the precursor to success. Right. I'm done. That's it.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all what, man.
What? Y'all both just
all y'all have blessed me. And I tell, and I had someone I just talked to recently, a friend of mine, and I keep, and anytime I have a chance to, especially women, they'll ask me, because of my previous starting out in the podcast, I talked about a lot of relationship, and I tell them, you got to be a man's peace. All this nagging and aggravation and, pulling on him, and when he's trying to do his best, you got to recognize when your man is doing the very best he can and support him You got to look at the vision, you know what I'm saying, of your man. Because if you don't believe in the vision, why are you in this relationship?
It worked both ways in their defense.
And it does. It goes both ways.
I'm going to say this, though. A lot of times, your kids can be the mental destruction of you.
That's true.
And I mean that in the most respectful way, because I love my kids. My kids, they bless me. I've been blessed to have those beautiful individuals in my life. But I will say that it works both ways. A man can destroy a woman just like a woman can destroy a man.
That's true. The power of the tongue is very powerful.
That's it, right?
It's very powerful.
Hit them, RJ.
This is my last thing. I promise. This is my last thing. All right, you got to have conditions because you got to you only just got to watch what you allow people to say to you, but you also got to watch what you say to them. Okay. When you don't have conditions on information, that's near and dear to you. If you don't have conditions on your vulnerability, man, people will weaponize the things like your insecurities.
Yes.
The things that make you cry, the things that messes with like thoughts of suicide and stuff like that. You give that weapon to the wrong person and they know how to use it.
Right.
They'll use the very information. I don't have conditions on my shortfalls. I don't have conditions on, how I grew. If something happened to me as a child, you know what I mean? Like God forbid, right? Let's just say you grew up and you got molested as a child and something like that. And you didn't have conditions on who you shared that with. You see what I'm saying? Now you have a vulnerable point. You have an access point. Mm-hmm. And people will penetrate your access points to get what they want out of you. Right. They will do it to you. Yeah. God forbid you get into an argument with your girlfriend. God forbid you get into an argument with family at the family reunion. Right. Because, you know what I'm saying? They don't realize you had to put yourself in hiding because I couldn't expose myself to a person that didn't know how to manage my access points.
Right.
For real, man. That's a real thing. And so my heart goes out for people who don't have conditions because they don't know how to say no. Mm-hmm. Vanessa said it herself, no is a complete sentence.
Yeah,
she did. You know what I mean?
Yes, she did.
And when you don't know how to say no, you lose sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you don't know how to say no, you lose peace.
Oh.
You know what I mean? When you don't know how to say no, you lose everything you've worked for. Man, it took me all 36 years of my life to build up the little bit of self-esteem I got. God forbid I don't guard it. Yeah. God forbid, man.
Right.
I'm serious, man. Like, look at everything that we built since we've been working together. And if I didn't guard it,
right.
And we almost like gave someone access to what it was that we were doing, and it almost lost its purpose because we were connected to the wrong people. The Bible don't play. Evil communication corrupt good manners, man.
Yes.
And also evil communication will change your heart.
15 and 33.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Come on, man. And so I have to have conditions because I can't let you change the heart that's already weak.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My heart is already weak, man. Mm-hmm. For real. I beat you up physically, right? Mm-hmm. But I lost the fight in my heart. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Right. And so when you don't have conditions, man, you could win the fight, you could make the money, you could have the car, you can have all of that.
But the war still pounding.
And still off yourself.
Right.
Because you didn't put conditions on that mug, man. Yeah. I'm done for real this time. I'm done.
Hey, man. Listen. I want to thank my producer hopping on here. This podcast right here. I knew it was gonna go this way. I just want to be honest. I just asked God to let me bring out a few little tidbits so I can bring out these points because everything everybody say here is very true. It is so powerful. It is so powerful. We need that in our life. As men, we need to share more, be open to more, and be more willing to communicate these type of things because I'm gonna tell you what. I was going through a period of time back in 2019, I thought I was in it by myself. Mm-hmm. And I was hiding it. I didn't want nobody. Pride was in place. Because I worked so hard for what we had. Right. I didn't want nobody to know that we was going through what we was going through. Right. And it took the friends that we all was tight to come to me and say, come here, let me talk to you. Mm-hmm. I'm going through the same thing. You ain't got to hide no more. You ain't got to keep lying to us because we going through the very same situation. Until I had that honest conversation with my friends, all of us were going through the same process at the same time, believe it or not. But as men, we are guarded. We don't want to let other men know that we hurting or we going through a significant event in our life. And it almost took me out. Yeah. I started having health conditions. Yeah. And I never forget the doctor told me in Chapel Hill, I was hospitalized for 7 days because I was stressed out, I was worried with my family, my kids, the whole situation. And when the doctor came in, he said, "I've been doing this for 30 years." He said, "This is just a regular appointment after all my results came back and everything." And I was sitting in the chair, and I'm gonna lie to you, I was sitting there, had my chest out like this. I'm a grown man, 40-something years old.
I'm gonna thug it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna thug it out. He came in, white man came in, he hit my knee, boom, 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 did a little self-evaluate, sit back. He did this right here. I'm glad I got my glasses. He took and put it, did like that.
Good.
He said, "Mr. Tann, so what's stressing you out?" I said, "I'm good, dog. I ain't got no stress." He sat back. He said, "Oh, really?" Just like that. He said, "You'll be dead in 6 months if you don't let go what's stressing you out. You're gonna be dead in 6 months."
Ooh.
Let me tell you something. I sat there, my head up high. I wanted to cry, but I was in front of other men. There's some ladies in there. I said, "Okay, doc." When I walked out of the office and I got out of that car, I cried like a baby.
Yes, sir.
And I prayed to God that he just touched my life and changed the situation I was going through. But that right there, being able to be honest with yourself and what all y'all said, guarding, putting boundaries. I used to not even like that word because I would use so much, it was weaponized.
Yeah, negative connotation on
it. Right. But what he said and what all y'all said here today is so true. And it's just a powerful message for anybody that's watching this podcast. And I thank y'all. I really appreciate y'all.
I have a question.
On. Go ahead.
I have a question. Because what y'all said, one, we've talked, man, I'm so happy I met you. I'm so happy God put us together today. Y'all talked about a lot of stuff that I just went through. Like
I already know. Yeah.
How do you do it when you are the strong one? That everybody, all your friends, your best friends, males, kids, teenagers, college students, older brothers, younger brothers, who do you go to outside of God? I go to God for everything. Who do you go to when you're the only person they go to because they know you're strong enough to do it?
That's amazing. We just had, we literally.
I'm gonna let them answer that question.
Yeah. So when I'm speaking, I'm not trying to get too personal, but me, I am the person a lot of my best friends, family go to.
Absolutely.
Because they know when you talk to Jose, stone face, what's up? What you need? Right. I'm not the person you call to talk. I'm the person you call when you need something. When you need someone, you need help. I'm the person you call. So how do you deal with it when you're the one they call for strength?
I myself, I have a spiritual leader, which is my apostle at the church. All right. It's got to be somebody you're willing to be vulnerable with, outside of obviously God, right? Mm-hmm. God puts people in your life for a reason.
Absolutely.
The good pride about me allows me to go to him and not obviously prayer, but going to my apostle and being able to cry and get it out. Because a lot of times, remember I was telling you, mentally could affect you worse than physically.
Oh yeah,
because definitely. It can cause other health issues.
That's true.
Right?
I experienced that.
So if you don't have a place to be vulnerable, whether it's through prayer or whether it's through spiritual leaders, it's going to run you into the mud. All right. You and I talk, and I know you know that I'm a place where you can be vulnerable, where that
Absolutely.
Conversation stays there. And when I get off the phone, knowing that, hey, I'm going to pray for Jose because I know Jose is going through. You may not know it in the physical or be able to see it until you see that change happen in your life and not understand why. Because there are people who are praying for your soul and everything that you're going through. I've been in that situation, and still sometimes I go through it. And again, that's why I say I'm able to be vulnerable with my spiritual leader, where I feel like sometimes I'm on that island by myself. And that's the man in you. That's that bad pride. That bad pride says, I don't want to talk to nobody. I want to hold this in because I don't want nobody to see the soft side of me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. But again, having somebody that you can be vulnerable with, it's not always your significant other. There's certain things that I won't talk to my wife about because she wouldn't understand as a man.
Right. Yeah.
And that's no shot at her. It's just I know she wouldn't understand it as a man.
Right.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. But I know that there are certain people that God placed in my life that I can talk to. Now, You can't go to everybody. Because like he said earlier, some of these people, when you talk to them, you're vulnerable to them, they use it as a weapon. I don't care how cool they are talking to you right now, saying, "Oh, brother, I got you, man. Man, I know that's hard."
Right.
But then as soon as the argument come up or soon as the opportunity present itself for them to use it against you, they'll use it against you. And from a spiritual standpoint, I would suggest, and I'm not saying that everybody who's saved is the right person to talk to, because I will say this live on this podcast. Church folk can be the worst folk.
Oh, boy, that's been said many
Church
times.
folk can be the worst folk. And I know that sounds cliche these days. People say that all the time. But it's the truth.
Yeah.
Church folk can be the worst folk.
Hey, you ain't never lying.
And believe it or not, there are some people that are in leadership that you will go to be vulnerable with, and next thing you know, you're hearing it across the pulpit. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's important. People don't think this is that serious, but it really is. It's important for you to really have a relationship with God, so you know who God has placed in your life.
Discernment.
He gives you the gift of discernment. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot into that. People may not understand that, but that's real life.
That's a bar.
What you got there?
Oh, yeah, I gotta hear from.
Let me get that one this time.
Yeah.
Let me get that one. It's all okay. We gonna edit that thing out. We good. I want them to see all of this. It's all good. We gonna get all this.
I saw your training. I saw your.
No, I didn't. I didn't see videos.
I know him long enough now to understand.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah,
I'm catching on. I'm catching on to the mindset.
Crazy, right? All right. So I'm gonna give you a practical answer. I'm gonna give you a deep answer, and I'm gonna put it all together. First thing is, when you don't have nobody to go to, get yourself some new friends. It's that simple. It ain't deep. The ones that are jacked up, get you some new friends. I think about it contextually and biblically, right? I think about the paraplegic man that had to be carried. He had to go through the roof, and he had to have some people that were smart.
Right.
He had to have a bully that knew how to fight the crowd. He had to have some guy that was intelligent enough to say, "I'm gonna hoist you up there, and then I'm gonna break a hole in this, and I'm gonna let you down, right?" But then he had to have a friend that was crazy enough to believe that it could actually happen.
Right.
If you don't have people in your circle that get just as crazy about your idea as you do, get you some new friends.
Right.
It ain't deep. It ain't hard.
Right.
It ain't challenging.
Right.
If your girl don't celebrate you, get a new one.
Right.
If your boy don't celebrate you, get a new one. I'm not gonna say that about your family. Put them on pause until they're ready to celebrate.
No, they ain't
right?
this too.
You know what I'm saying? But, but and if your pastor don't celebrate you, get another one. You know what I mean? I'm just, it's practical. It ain't hard. It ain't deep. I think about Joseph. Now this is more like spiritual.
Yeah, I got you.
You got to understand that there are certain people that are supposed to play you in your face. Your job is to not lose sight of your dream.
My hands work too.
Joseph had a dream, right?
Yeah.
But his own brothers put him in the pit.
Yep.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Joseph had a dream, right? But then he was trusted to go to the palace a little bit. But he had a woman that was trying to test his manhood. You know, are you gonna come get this cat? You know, or are you gonna be a punk?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go to the prison, you know what I mean? But then you're the only one with the ability, with the skill to interpret a dream. What I'm saying here is understand that affliction is gonna come regardless. People gonna play you, people gonna test your gangster, people gonna try to see how far they can get with you. It goes back to having conditions. If you ain't got them, right? And so what if Joseph didn't have conditions? You know what I mean? And I think about that because him still maintaining the necessity of his dream put him in a position to help the folks that hated on him. You see what I'm saying? You got to be strong enough to hold on to your conditions, to hold on to your boundaries, to hold on to your dreams long enough because the people that played you are going to be the ones you help. Wow. Seriously. I genuinely believe the good ones and the bad ones, divine relationships, they don't fall out of the air. They are in people. They are discerned and not decided. That means people have keys that unlock strategy for you. The problem is that if we omit the problem too fast, we didn't get or we didn't lose what we were supposed to, acquire, losing that situation. I say God doesn't cause everything, but he uses everything. This is important because when we rush relationships, there are aspects of relationships where God is saying, I'm taking you this way because I have to get things off you. I got to get things to you, and I have to learn if I can get things through you. Right. If we omit the bad relationships, because we don't seriously, if we omit the bad relationships out of the necessity to not want to be hurt, there's some things that he never gets off of us. The first thing you said is, I got hands. I got to get that off of you. Because I got to get you to respond with your mind and not your aggression.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's some things I got to get to you. I got to get you to get your hope back. I got to get you to get your love back, your faith back, your dreams back. Then there's some things I got to get off of you. My dad hurt me. My girlfriend hurt me. My wife cheated on me. My job played me. My pastor overworked me. There's some things that you got to go through on purpose, right? Because I got to get it off you. I got to get it to you. But most importantly, I got to get things through you. And if I can't get nothing through you, I can't use you.
Right.
I'm done.
You said that. No, bring him back because he said that the last 2 times. He'll be back. Don't worry about it.
I got one more for you too, and I want you to consider.
That's crazy.
This.
He basically. Look, he literally just said your biggest enemies who want your friends.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and you got to consider this. They talked about Jesus. We not exempt, and one of the things you really got to remember is 2 of his own didn't claim him.
Right.
Yeah.
One of them turned his back completely on him.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Turned his back completely. You see what I'm saying? But Jesus understood his purpose. So if you understand your purpose in life, you're going to understand people going to talk about you. They're going to say what they're going to say.
Right.
They talk about me all the time. I can care less. If they're talking about you, that means you're doing something.
Right.
And who was doing something more than anybody on this earth that walked this earth other than Jesus? And they criticized him the way that they did. And then in the midst of doing that, when he carried his cross, they spit on him. They beat him. They did everything to him, and he still carried out his mission.
Right.
That's why I say, for me, basketball is a tool for the ministry. Because if I can be an example for somebody that can lead them to Christ, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
I've done my job. So when Judas decided he was going to tell them what Jesus was going to be so they can come get him, Jesus didn't deny it. He did what he was supposed to do. I am the Nazarene. I am Jesus the Christ. And then Simon Peter said, no, I wasn't with him.
Right.
Right? And he still carried out his mission. How deep is that?
That's deep.
Jesus died for me. I take that personal.
Yeah.
He died for me.
And he died for me too.
Hey, brother, it's got to be personal.
Yeah. It's got
So
to.
when you got all these people in this world that we live in that wants to criticize what you do, they want to talk about you behind your back, let them. Let them. Just remember, you got a cross that you got to carry just like Jesus did. Don't let them stop you from carrying your cross. No matter what you go through. I'm speaking to myself too. No matter what you go through, carry your cross. Because at the end, who's going to be more satisfied, man or the one you need to satisfy the most?
Hey, that man up above.
My man.
Look, I ain't gonna
Purpose.
lie. I love
people that have lost a little bit though.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just listening because stuff y'all talked about like y'all already went through, and I'm just in here like, that's me right now. So I'm not saying I have my best friends. I have a legit 4 best friends that I would die for, and I know they would die for me. But it ties into playing basketball overseas because when you're gone, a lot of people are out of sight, out of mind. You don't see me or hear from me.
Right.
You don't think about me, and then I just run into you in the mall, and then I'm bittersweet with it. I'm very powerful. Like I said, I do have a lot of maturing still. I think I'm a very mature young man, but I still, because growing up is you get in an altercation at school, let me go get my big brother. I'm the big brother. And then when it was my big brother, I got my little brother. And that's kind of, so when I say, yo, my hands work, that's where when I get very conflicted or I get in uncomfortable situations, I naturally just get defensive or aggressive. I've been working on it by all means. So what y'all are saying is just, I'm just taking it in. Like, I understand that I'm transitioning out of being aggressive just because, like I said, when you're raised by an Army infantry man, I saw him go through it. And I saw him go from being the aggressor to being this loving, expressive man. But it also took him a minute to get there. And I love him so much because he created me and he raised me to be this.
Right.
So I'm learning through experience. So when I speak on it, it's just more of a sense of like, I'm always a strong one because I am the emotionally inexpressive one. So you call Jose. If it's my best friend, you call me at 3 a.m. My best friends would call me at 2:30 in the morning and say, "Hey man, I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. Some stuff about to go down. I'm there. I'm on the way. I'll be there in an hour." And it's a 2.5 hour flight. So it's understanding that vulnerability or understanding the replacement, but understanding the fight I have within myself, which is like, you're right. I should replace certain people in my life. I should replace whoever it is that I feel like it's a one-sided streak, but at the same time, it's like I've grown and I don't have that many people. And I'm scared of also being alone. So it's like I'm understanding that, I got to, get into the church, find a new group, just involve myself so much. But my butt isn't in the sense of like, I can do that. My butt is in the sense of like, I leave for a country and I come back for like a month.
Right.
And then I leave again. And it speaks to the mindset. So my mindset is like, I don't think emotionally first, because I get on a plane, that emotion cuts off. I'm thinking logically. All right. Like, I love confrontation. Confrontation not necessarily negative, but I was raised to be like, you don't like me? Call me. Or you don't have my number? Then you don't know me well enough not to like me.
Right. I understand that, yeah.
That's a bar. That's getting...
Yeah.
But y'all, like, it's wild. Like, I thought I was going to come, we're going to talk about basketball. Y'all just changed my life today. Like, y'all at least initiated that wheel to be like, got to knock the cobwebs off of it. Like, all right, now what other avenue can I take? What other road what exit to get off of? One, because now it's like my life now is I'm alone. I got my best friends. I got Coach Don. I got y'all. I appreciate y'all. Mm-hmm. I got my family. My family, I love and care for them.
Right.
But I'm alone in the sense of like, I'm starting back from square one. Like, own crib, single. Where do I go from here?
Mm-hmm. That could be a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely
can be a good thing.
And that's why I don't question my maturity, but that's what makes me question, am I patient enough? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes God just wants you to stop.
Yeah.
Stop moving. Stop doing this. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm in a time and place where y'all drop so many bars, key, like just, I wish I had a notepad. Like, I'm going to watch this and just.
Oh, yeah. We'll make sure you get all these.
Look.
All this.
So, and it's like, now I'm thinking is basketball. I know basketball. God wants me to play basketball. I know that. Mm-hmm. I feel that. There's nothing telling me not to. But it's now I'm questioning the outside of my personal life in the sense of like, does he want me to stop and just let him go? In the sense of let him, as he lead, he should always lead. Right. But don't move and just be like, you know what? Hey, yo. Hey, big homie, do your thing.
Right.
Let me passenger seat this thing. You got it. Go ahead, drive. Or is it, I got this door, I got that door, I got that door. All of these, I will lead you into all of these doors. You just have to pick one.
Well, he's not going to lead you into all those doors, because one thing you have to learn about God, we don't serve a God of confusion. He's going to show you when you seek him. But I told you years ago, because I seen you interact with kids, I seen your knowledge, I know how you are about the community, the basketball.
Absolutely.
You're going to be coaching one day. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be coaching one day, because I know your passion. Sometimes in coaching, so players are a reflection of their coach, right? Yeah. They're supposed to be anyway. And one thing I know about you is consistency and passion, all right? Now you have to log into your purpose, right? And your purpose is only going to be shown when you seek the one who gave you purpose, right? So when you get into coaching, you're going to look at it and say, man, now I can pass all my knowledge, all my abilities off to these individuals who's going to run through a wall for you one day because they see it in you, right? There are coaches that are collecting checks.
That's true.
Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. There are coaches that are literally just collecting checks. They don't teach these kids nothing, and we spoke about it last time. They teach you nothing about life. They teach you nothing about being a student, athlete. All they want to do is show you plays and show them use you for your ability. And then they don't do anything in the offseason to make you better. They tell you to go play AAU, or they tell you it's sexy to say I got a trainer. They send you to all these trainers that put you through a workout, but it don't make you better. And parents,
I got something for that.
are more. A lot of parents are so willing to pay somebody just because they made their child sweat. I can make you sweat by just doing jumping jacks, but does that make you better in basketball?
I got something for you.
Right? So you gotta understand, you have the ability as an individual who will one day coach to be successful. Okay? You have a lot of people in your life that you've either come across, whether it's your coaches, myself, coach training, and I like to say I'm a coach who trains. I'm not a trainer who want to coach. So I can see what you need to work on.
That's a bar.
And we work on getting better, right? So I think that you're really going to be a good coach.
Yeah. We're going to give you the last comment. We got to close out because our time is running out on the thing.
Absolutely. Well, one in response, a real quick response is when you play overseas and you see children and teenagers and middle schoolers in other countries, at one point, and I say this, the world is catching up to the United States when it comes to basketball. Quickly. We saw it in the Olympics. Of course, U.S. is still dominant, but like we saw the Serbia game.
Right.
We saw France.
France, definitely.
You see this stuff where the United States kids play 6 days a week and train workout one. And then you got kids overseas that still hit me up that I trained in all these other countries sending me film that will work out 5 or 6 days a week, 2-3 times a day just to play one game on Saturday. But I blame social media, and I also blame parents because some parents want it more than their kids do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But closing out, I just want to say thank y'all. Y'all don't understand how y'all comments today just impacted my life tremendously. Like, it definitely gave me a new sight. I didn't think I was gonna get this today, but God has a way of working.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you will.
I love the knowledge. I love being a part of this. I would love to come back. It was amazing.
Definitely.
Everybody listening and watching, please, young men and women, where it applies, please take all the knowledge that all these men, including myself, are dropping, because this is real. And ain't nothing gonna smack you harder than life.
That's true.
So God bless. Love each other, and thank you for having me.
Hey, man, I thank everybody for the words of knowledge today. Has impacted my life as well. Stay tuned to the Kelvis Podcast. Like and follow and share on all social media, Kelvis Podcast. And with that I say peace.